Things can get pretty rowdy in the tank. Shark Tank India entered the greater Shark Tank franchise with a bang. Phenomenal pitches, ingenious innovations, and some intense negotiations where things got heated. These are the top 10 most intense negotiations on Shark Tank India. 10th ARRCOAT Surface Textures. Season 1 of Shark Tank India saw a unique combination of interior design and wall finishes enter the tank. ARRCOAT, the brainchild of Mohammed Iqbal, claims to be India's first wall finishing that does not produce any VOCs or volatile organic compounds. Iqbal, an expert in the field, claimed that he searched all over India for a product that would be safe to use for the builder and homeowner and couldn't find anything that met both criteria. In the end, he came up with ARRCOAT and offered the sharks 5% equity in exchange for 50 lakh Indian rupees. Anupam Mittal was the only shark willing to bite into ARRCOAT, but he had a few conditions. First, Iqbal, the founder, had to be a majority shareholder in the company. Ironically, despite being the founder, he was only given 30% of the profits and no equity. This had to change, according to Mittal, whose offer was contingent on Iqbal getting his due share. After a little back and forth, the owner of the company agreed to give Iqbal a 30% share and sealed the deal for 50 lakh in exchange for 15%. 9. Otua A play on the Indian three-wheeler drive. Otua is a creation of Dandara Technologies presented in Season 1 of Shark Tank India. The founders of the company entered the tank seeking 1 crore Indian rupees in exchange for a 1% stake in the company, valuing the company at 100 crore Indian rupees. You better believe every other shark was out right after hearing this valuation. But Dandara Technologies remained steadfast, believing that their eco-friendly three-wheeler would be the next best thing in the Indian automotive industry. Ashnir Grover was interested in Otua. He was the only shark who was interested, actually. His offer was far from what the founders wanted. Grover offered 1 lakh for 1% equity and the other 99 lakh as a loan with 12% annual interest over the next 5 years. After consulting with the team back home, Dandara Technologies sealed the deal. 8. Raasa India is known for producing some of the most delicious street food the world has ever seen. However, street food vendors are often at a disadvantage with a lack of branding and the inability to deliver their food directly to their customers. Raasa Carts came up with the perfect solution. By working alongside major food delivery services, Raasa Carts aims to connect the vendor directly to the consumer. They're offering licensing, branding, and several options to street vendors to expand their reach. Raasa was a great initiative, but not all of the sharks agreed with the 10 crore Indian rupee valuation. Anupam Mittal was intrigued enough to make an offer, 50 lakh Indian rupees in exchange for 25% of the company. However, his offer was contingent on the founder, Manik Senghal, bringing on another co-founder, someone with a background in tech. Raasa Carts walked out of the tank with a deal. 7. Solinas. A team of 4 young entrepreneurs entered the tank in Season 2, seeking 90 lakh Indian rupees in exchange for a 2% share in their company, Solinas Integrity. The plan was simple. How do we revolutionize the outdated sewage cleaning systems in India? The team came with stats, figures, and the unfortunate reality that several people had passed away because of India's growing sewage problem. Solinas' solution was to automate the cleaning process with the help of their robots, Homo Sep and Endobot. After deliberations, Solinas secured a deal with sharks Anupam Mittal and Peyush Bansal for 90 lakhs Indian rupees in exchange for 3% equity, slightly adjusting the company's valuation to 30 crore Indian rupees from the original 45 crore Indian rupees. First season kicked off in style with Revamp Moto, a startup company that produced India's first transformative EV. The sharks were immediately mesmerized by the product, almost forgetting that the founders wanted 1 crore Indian rupees in exchange for 1% of the company. Now, in any other scenario, the sharks would have backed out based on the 100 crore Indian rupee valuation alone. But there was something intriguing about Revamp Moto. 4 sharks were in, but 2 of them, Aman Gupta and Anupam Mittal, decided to team up. The founders of Revamp Moto knew they had a great idea. They just needed distributors and marketing. Aman and Anupam were the sharks for them, and they said yes right away. Revamp Moto later accepted 50 lakh Indian rupee investments from sharks Ashnir Grover and Peyush Bansal, as well as making it one of Shark Tank India's most lucrative deals yet. 5. Beyond Water. Beyond Water, co-founded by Devang and Shachi Singhania, introduced India's first liquid water enhancers. Flavored, sugar-free concentrates designed to make hydration more enjoyable with variants like lemon mint, mango peach, and ginger lime. The negotiation was dynamic. Initially, the founders wanted 75 lakh Indian rupees for 4% equity at an 18.75 crore Indian rupees valuation. Namita Thapar and Aman Gupta offered 50 lakh Indian rupees for 20% equity, plus 25 lakh Indian rupees in debt at 12% interest. When Anupam Mittal showed interest, they revised their offer to 75 lakh Indian rupees for 20% equity. Devang countered with 75 lakh Indian rupees for 10%, which Aman declined. Eventually, Namita proposed 75 lakh Indian rupees for 15% equity, which the founders accepted. Fourth, Paradyes, co-founded by Yushika Jolly and Siddharth Raghuvanshi, entered the tank with their semi-permanent hair dye solution. Paradyes was Yushika's brainchild, and in many ways, an extension of her family business. The Sharks admired her commitment to giving her mother and brother 20% stakes in the company and overall loved her energy. Several Sharks were interested. Peyush Bansal offered 65 lakh Indian rupees for 5% equity, valuing the company at 13 crore Indian rupees. Vinita Singh and Anupam Mittal jointly proposed 65 lakh Indian rupees for 4% equity. Lastly, Aman Gupta matched Bansal's offer of 65 lakh Indian rupees for 5% equity. The founders countered with a proposal of 65 lakh Indian rupees for 2% equity, specifically seeking investment from Vinita Singh and Aman Gupta. They got exactly what they were looking for. 3. Skippi Ice Pops. Reclaim your childhood with Skippi's Ice Pops. The founders brought in a unique twist to the childhood classic, offering the same delicious treat without any artificial colors or flavorings. The husband-wife duo managed to impress the Sharks with their product, presentation, and overall reasonable ask. 45 lakh Indian rupees for 5% equity. Skippi was, after all, India's first and only ice pop manufacturer. The Sharks were interested, and Skippi became Shark Tank India's first product to secure an all-shark deal. This also meant that negotiations were going to get feisty. But how do you appease a team of 5 Sharks, all of whom want in on the deal? Easy. You let them come together for 1 crore Indian rupees for 15% equity. This lowered the company's valuation from 9 crore Indian rupees to 6.6 crore Indian rupees. But Skippi was happy with the deal. 2. Find your kicks. India reselling is becoming increasingly chaotic for consumers. Finding the right product, the right fit, and in the right condition is a hassle. However, Find Your Kicks has come up with a solution for this all-too-common problem. Introducing India's first streamlined shoe reselling marketplace. The founders wanted 50 lakh Indian rupees for 10% equity, valuing the company at 5 crore Indian rupees. While the Sharks were interested, they had their reservations over the valuation. However, they admired the idea enough to make a few individual and duo offers. Ultimately, Aman Gupta proposed that all Sharks collaborate, leading to a collective offer of 50 lakh Indian rupees for 30% equity, which was ultimately negotiated down to 25% equity. First, Tagz. Probably one of the most innovative pitches in Shark Tank India's history, Tagz co-founders entered the tank with oil shots in their hands. The shots showcased just how much oil there was in the everyday snack. Their solution? Healthy alternatives to India's cravings. Tagz's Gen Z snacking option was meant to solve a problem India's ignored for far too long: unhealthy eating habits. The Sharks had a bite and were immediately interested. Tagz had licensing to a new technology that meant their chips weren't fried, baked, air-fried, or anything else. They were popped. The co-founders wanted 70 lakh Indian rupees for 1% equity. A heavy ask. During the pitch, multiple Sharks showed interest. Namita Thapar and Aman Gupta jointly offered 70 lakh Indian rupees for 4% equity in Tagz. Ashnir Grover countered with 70 lakh Indian rupees for 3.5% equity. After negotiations, the founders accepted Ashnir's offer of 70 lakh Indian rupees for 2.75% equity. And that's a wrap on the most intense negotiations on Shark Tank India. Make sure to let us know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more insider details into the lives of the uber rich.